pleasure to have you here at our session, and which is entitled Economic and Education Actions to Transform the Workforce. And our panelists will discuss with us today the role that education plays in economic and workforce development and how education affects the labor force. And so joining me is our moderator, Ms. Sana Joseph Smith. She's a policy advisor of the Office of the Governor, and she gave us a 10-second bio.
My 10-second bio, my name alone will take 10 seconds. Welcome, everyone. My name is Sana Joseph Smith. I am acting in today's role as policy advisor to the governor, but my background includes I'm a business owner, founder of a financial literacy nonprofit, grew up in corporate America, and I'm just happy to be here today to share some knowledge and to have a great conversation with everyone.
Let's welcome Ms. Joseph Smith. Thank you. Our next panelist is Mr. Wayne L. Biggs Jr., and he is the Chief Executive Officer of the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority, and he too will give us a 10-second bio.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Pleasure to be here also. This is our second conference this morning. Actually, the second workforce conference. We had one on St. Croix previously. I have 35 plus years in business development and economic development. Bachelor of Science degree in what was at the time called Operations Management Information Systems. It's probably called now business with an emphasis in IT technology. Again, pleasure to be here with you and want to move forward. Also have a Master of Business Administration degree from UVI. So education is important, and I'm glad to sit here in this panel this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Biggs. Let's welcome him. Next up, we have Mr. Francis, and he is the principal for the Raphael O. Whitley Skills Center in St. Thomas, and he'll give us a 10-second bio as well.
Good morning, everyone. It's going to be a challenge because brevity has never been my strong suit, but as she said, my name is Mario Francis. I come with 43 years of experience as an educator here in the public school system and also in New York City public school system. My background is clinical education, which basically said studying the art of how folks learn and assisting them through their processes with their impediments in learning. And so my final stint before I retire is principal of the Raphael Whitley Skills Center, which is my passion right now because it's developing the workforce. And so we have industry recognized credentials that we offer in various areas. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Francis. Let's welcome him. And next up, we have Ms. Monique Richards, and she is the District Director for the Career and Technical Education. Please give us your, 15 second now. 15 seconds.
Awesome.
Well,
Favor.
Nobody else keeping the rules, so I'm figuring I'll give her a little bit of leeway. Go ahead.
Favor ain't fair. Amen. A blessed good morning to everyone. It is indeed my pleasure to be here with you today. Like our host said, my name is Monique Richards, and I have the awesome pleasure of serving as the district coordinator of the Career and Technical Education Division at the Department of Education. Guess what? I'm a second career educator. Previously, I worked at the Water and Power Authority, where I served in many capacities. But now I'm here sharing with my students. I still call them my students. I see three of them in the room from Conquering School. Good. And I'm so happy to see that they're pursuing vocational or career and technical education. That's my passion. I have an alumni of the University of Virgin Islands, associates in management, bachelor's in accounting, MBA, PhD candidate. Amen. UVI is a good place to be.
Opportunity.
And so I feel right at home. And it is my esteemed pleasure to be here with my superiors today to share with you about the good things that are happening at VIDE in career and technical education. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ms. Richards. Let's welcome her. And last but certainly not least, we're talking about education. So we have the educational professional of the territory with us, none other than Dr. Dion Wells Hedrickton, the Commissioner Designee or Nominee for VI Education Department.
Good morning, everyone. I always have to be the one to stand, but that's okay. Actually, I'm among the professionals in the area of career and technical education. I have been an educator for 29 years, worked in every capacity ever, and now I am the commissioner nominee. And one of the things that we want to see happen in the Department of Education is more workforce initiatives, more opportunities for students, more diving into really where students' passion is, and trying to bring opportunities to them so that they could be successful as adults and contribute to the Virgin Islands. And so it's a pleasure to be here. I don't think I need to be on the panel because the experts are here, but it's always good to share in opportunities like this. Thank you to the students that came, and we look forward to great, robust discussions around what VID is doing, among other opportunities in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll turn it over to the moderator and the panel. And please, there'll be opportunity for you to ask questions. So start writing them down. Or as this lady here, the moderator will not let you go through the door to get lunch. So please get your questions together. Right? Did I say correctly? You did. All right. Thank you.
All right, and she did. So if you want your lunch ticket, then you have to participate. That's part of it. So it feels weird sitting like Dr. Wells Hendrington. I'd like to stand. My energy is confined to a chair, but I'm going to follow the rules. I'm going to try to, and we're going to jump right in. Don't be afraid. We will have a question and answer session towards the end, but this is conversational. It's meant to be an exchange of resources. It's meant to be an exchange of information. It's meant to be an inspiration for you to level up. That's where we are with it. So if you have a question, if something is bubbling inside of you, just pop your hand up and we'll get to you and you can join in the conversation. So we're going to jump right in. And in fact, I'm going to shake it up a little bit because on, what was that, Tuesday? Tuesday, we had a similar conversation, and I thought what was really, really great that we got from there was some of the non-traditional areas. So I'm going to start with, especially since you're outnumbered by all these VIDE people. So I'm gonna let you start off so that they don't jump in and take all your thunder, right?
All right, great.
So, from your experience in working with various businesses, whether in the territory, outside of the territory, how have you seen education play a non-traditional role? What are some funky things that you've seen, really come into play where these businesses and education merge together and create a beautiful baby?
Yeah. Let me first say, again, we're charged with attracting businesses here to the territory. One of our charges in regard to that. And whenever we're talking to individuals, the first thing they always ask is, what's your workforce like? I mean, that's concern to businesses. If you have people to work, then businesses can be successful and get a return on investment. So there's lots of different ways to educate. Of course, there's formal education in reference to college, postgraduate degrees like many of us have. There's also vocational ed. But also something that we do here is we educate on the business side. So you may not want to go to college. You may not necessarily have a trade, although I encourage you to do both. You may decide you want to be an entrepreneur. And so we have courses and we do workshops in reference to how you can grow a business. Many times, particularly here in St. Thomas, you see the yachts out in the harbor. Those yachts aren't owned by myself or most of the individuals. They're owned by entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurship is another form of education. We try to teach you how to grow a business and get a business to a certain level. But definitely if you're going to work for somebody else, the formal education is important, whether it be formal education as far as academic or formal education as far as vocational, where you're getting the certificates that are needed so you can be employable. So yeah, entities look for certificates, they look for degrees, and again, they look for knowledge and skill sets. But also, very, very important is the soft skills that you have. The attitude that you bring to the business.
Break down soft skills for us, because everybody keeps talking about this soft skills, soft skills, soft skills. What does it look like? Like, what is it?
Well, soft skills is more personality-based traits. They're not necessarily the formal things you get a certificate for, a degree for. Attitude, dedication to employment, your ability to get along with other individuals in the workplace, whether you're working as a team or you're working as an individual. So those are the type of things that entities are looking for. If you have good soft skills, the opportunities are that you're going to do good in that interview and you will get hired. But also, again, the formal stuff is also important.
And how you speak to people. That's a big one. In our community, we could get a little rough. And we don't always mean it, but That's a soft skill that we often hear from a lot of the business owners, the managers, that we don't know how to translate it. We don't like people talking rough to us, but we don't, we'll growl right back at you in a minute. So very important. Anyone from education want to jump in on that? Where have you seen the businesses describe their needs and what they need their workforce? And when we say workforce, these are team members. We have all these like fancy terms and so forth. But workforce, we just mean the people in the departments, in your business, wherever you are that are working to coordinate and make sure that that wheel keeps moving. So from an educational perspective, what have you guys seen have been critical areas of knowledge that we want to make sure not just our students under 18, but the grown folks need to have as well? You want to share some of that?
Sure. Again, Mario Francis, the principal of Raphael Whitley Skill Center. And one of the things that we do when we are going to start a new program of study, a course for which students come and enroll, is that we check with the Department of Labor. Department of Labor, we're a family. We have a back and forth. They let us know what are their critical shortage areas. And once they share that with us, then we go about creating programs to assist. Case in point, the hospital had a shortage of CNA, Certified Nursing Assistant. They reached out to us. We got a program vetted by the nursing board. We graduated 10 students. All 10
Awesome,
students.
nice.
Well, that's not the thunder of applaud yet. All 10 students were employed by the hospital right after graduation.
Awesome.
Similarly with our LPN program. We also have a partnership with some of the restaurants. Getting certified culinarians. Again, we have people that could go into washing, can do prepping, and do all of that, but they're looking for folks who have the credentials, who can come in there, get on the line, start preparing meals. So again, we partnered with some of the restaurants, and they also are taking our students for externships. When they finish their externships, they have a job lined up right there. And so I can, listen, this is my passion. I could go all the door, but
And we see you don't like to use your 10 seconds, so let me go ahead. Who's controlling his mic, right? I do want to make sure that I pull out a nugget that you mentioned, and we mentioned this before, the partnerships. For those that are watching and those in the room, these are really important things. So don't underestimate the power of partnerships, the power of working together in order to achieve a common goal. So if you have a need and somebody else has a need, what can we do where both of those needs are met? And we're in a small community, so we have to work together in order to make this happen. So I'm hoping that a lot of business owners and managers and so forth that are out there, you're taking a look, to see who's here, start recruiting. Those that are looking for a career, he said a really great nugget. What's available? Why go into a career if you know that you have no jobs there? Start with your passion and figure out where that passion can be placed into a area of need. And this is not just for first-time career. Segue to you, those that have a second chance careers, that transition, there are opportunities to do that as well.
Correct. And like Mr. Francis here, my passion is also career and technical education. And we prepare students for the workforce or to enter vocational school or college or university after high school. I'm very proud of the programs that we offer in the Virgin Islands Department of Education at both high schools, at the Charlotte Amalia High School and at the Ivani Dorican High School. We have several academies where students leave high school not only with a high school diploma, but they leave certified as well. We have the NAF Academy, that's the Finance Academy, and we have the Hospitality and Tourism Academy. So they leave, once they're part of that program, they would have enrolled from the 9th grade, they would have taken classes in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. Then they leave heavy, like we say. Additionally, those students have the opportunity to participate in internships. You heard Mr. Francis talk about externships. That's at the post-secondary side. While in high school,
Break down post-secondary. You're going into the VID terms again. What's post-secondary?
Post-secondary would be after high school.
All right. So this is the grown folks.
The grown folks.
All right.
So while in high school, our seniors have the opportunity to participate in on-the-job training or internships. And so we have business partners in the community, but we need more. And there's a tax incentive if you join this program. Contact me for more information about that.
I like
There's
it.
an act.
Your net worth is your network.
Exactly. And so we do have some businesses that are always reaching out to us for students in various areas. And the fact is, we like that they don't give them mundane tasks. They don't give them the task to just do the filing, or they give them tasks that are really
Skill building.
management-based, project-based. And so we're preparing our students to do exactly that. And so if you have a need, your first point should be the Department of Education if you're looking for high school students. If you have another need for employability after high school, please see Mr. Francis.
All right, awesome. So what we're hearing is that there's something for everyone, whether you are, working on your second career, working on your third career, or whether you're just starting. There are definitely opportunities. And so I kind of want to hear about your tracks. I think what's really interesting is to share your journeys and your path, because everyone takes a different journey. So can you guys share with us what has been your educational journey? How has that impacted your bottom line, your pockets? I want to hear about it. So Dr. Wells Hendrington, you got all kinds of degrees after your name.
Oh, wow.
Tell us about your path and how has it impacted your wallet?
Well,
Hi.
it's been pretty good. So I started my career. First of all, when I left high school, Ivana Durkin High School. I'm from St. John, and so we all went to Ivana Durkin High School. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So when I left school, because back then, my parents are both well-educated, and so college was not a choice. You had to go. And so I left. I went to Tuskegee University. While I was there, I studied biology. I got my BS in biology, wanted to be a medical doctor. Then I did more research and saw how many more years I would have to go, and I decided that wasn't for me. I knew that I loved children, but teaching was never something on my radar. And so I came back home, and my mom was an educator. She said, "Why don't you teach?" So I did that. And I found my niche. But during teaching, I realized that I wanted to impact more lives. Like I wanted to be in a role where I could really make decisions. And so I went back to the University of the Virgin Islands and got my master's in supervision and instruction. And then worked right here with this gentleman. Mr. Francis was my principal, and I was his assistant principal. And so I did that, and then opportunities just kept opening up. I became principal of both schools on St. John, and then
We got to pause a little bit. Opportunities just magically opened up, or were you
up
you were
like-
prepared for opportunities?
I was always prepared,
All right.
but it was almost like doors were just opening, and supernaturally. But we'll have another conversation about that. But after I did that and I became principal, I really enjoyed it. And then another opportunity opened up for me to be interim superintendent. And this was under the DeYoung administration. I was like, I don't know about that. I'm a St. Johnian, born, bred. Everything in St. John was for me. Now you want me to come to St. Thomas to walk? So I did. I accepted, and that's it. I've been in St. Thomas ever since 2015, superintendent to chief operations officer, now commissioner nominee. And so you never know where life will take you, but once you find your passion, once you find that thing that you enjoy doing, it makes working so much easier. And so always look for that. And when I see my students, I always try to see what good, what things, what strengths, how do I tap into those strengths to help you to see your strength so that you can reach for the limits. Like there's no limits in what you can do. And I'm so excited about these opportunities that my colleagues here have mentioned because they really open your thinking, open opportunities. And if we could make you get a good paying job, then we have accomplished our goal because our goal is to make you successful adults. And so that's my journey.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I'll let Mr. Biggs go next, but the nuggets that I picked out of that was that, if you're open and you're prepared for the opportunities, then all of a sudden they're not as hard to see because you've been prepared for it. So you kept saying that, it was just there. It wasn't just there. You were educated, you were experienced, you were working, and you were open to new challenges. So I just want to make sure that everybody picked up on that little nuggets. All right, Mr. Biggs, tell us about your journey.
Yeah, my journey is I guess, sort of similar to the commission nominees in regard to that. I went to a small school in St. Croix called St. Dunstan's Episcopal School, and the governor graduated from that school also. He's a couple years behind me in regard to that. But I went to college in the Midwest. At the time, we didn't travel as much, and I wanted to experience cold weather. I had been out to the States and stuff, but I'd never been or seen snow. So I went to Bradley University in Peoria, Illinois, which is a little south of Chicago. A little south of Chicago. And I started out my career as an electrical engineer. So I went into the school of engineering. And after about 2 years, I said, no, I really like this engineering thing. I like the electrical field, but for me, it was time to pivot. And what I want to say to that, nothing is wrong with pivoting if you're not sure what you want to do. So that's why I'm telling the story the way I'm telling it. And I decided that I was going to go into business. And at the time, computers were just coming in. There was no PCs back in the day, so I'm kind of dating myself. We got, actually, the year I graduated from college, we got the first PC, and it was the first PC in the area. It would cost about $50,000 for that PC. So we used to have to run across the campus with a deck of cards that you put in your computer program, and then run it through the machine, and all that sort of stuff. Anyhow, I found that computers were very interesting, and I said, you know what, this is going to be the wave of the future. So I pivoted, like I said, to, again, operations management, which is really business, information system, which is computer technology. And I graduated with that degree. I came home and actually worked for the Department of Education. My first job was as an accountant for the Department of Education over in St. Croix. And my salary was $13,094.
Did you say 13, comma?
Yeah, 13,095. I gonna tell you, I could remember my first salary in regard to that. So you're a little better than me. But again, because I wanted to do other things and I wasn't really satisfied, I decided I would enroll in UVI. And so while working at the Department of Education, I enrolled in UVI and I started my career in reference to doing my master's degree. Opportunities opened up in the federal government and I jumped over to SBA. And I did a lot of different things in SBA, got my master's degree, ended up traveling throughout the nation with SBA through the disaster program. So I was one of the disaster team members. They used to pull us and carry us away for a variety of times. When SBA downsized, I moved over to EDA. And I moved over to EDA as the director of lending and also the director of the Enterprise Zone Commission. So I was doing dual functions as the agency was just starting out. I had a meeting with Governor DeYoung one day in reference to horse racing. I was the chairman of the Horse Racing Commission over in St. Croix. And in that meeting, we were trying to lay out a reason why he should fund the commission accordingly. And we came in with plans and I laid out everything else. And the next thing I know, I'm getting a call from Governor DeYoung asking me to join his administration and become the Commissioner of Licensing and Consumer Affairs. So I left EDA. I took the risk and took a political job and took the risk and left a pretty safe job in regard to that. And I want you to be able to take risks when risk comes in front of you. Don't be afraid to take risks. And I ended up sitting there for 6 years and working as part of his cabinet. When Governor Mapp came in, Governor Mapp asked me to go back to EDA, and basically I was hired as the Assistant Chief Executive Officer and the Chief Operating Officer. So I went back to EDA during Governor Mapp's tenure. I worked that position, and I ended up being the interim CEO for about 3.5 years. Long time to be interim CEO, and additionally, I was doing the ACO and the CO. So that's what I talk about dedication to work and the need for dedication. The board decided they wanted to go in a different direction. They had somebody in. That person came in, ended up spending about 1.5 years with us. The board decided there wasn't a good fit, and then they hired me as the permanent CEO. So this is where I sit now. But again, I've been able to pivot, take advantage of risk when risk presented itself. And that's something I want to really get across to students is don't be afraid to take risk. With risk comes reward.
Not just the students.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I know, true. But with risk comes reward. You just got to continue to work hard and be dedicated to the task at hand.
Awesome, awesome. That's an awesome story. That journey definitely has navigated, and I love the nugget of taking that risk because often we want to be really safe. Now, you got to think of who's speaking. I am an entrepreneur, and so risk-taking is just what I do. But I feel like I take calculated risk. So when we jump out there, it's not like I'm jumping out there without a parachute. I usually have one parachute, a little backup over here, and then hopefully a moon bounce on the bottom. So you always have to try to make sure that in moving forward, take the risk and be calculated with it, but don't be afraid to actually jump out a little bit. So awesome story. Wait,
Alrighty.
hold on. Before you get the mic, now just remember we have one more person after you, and we had a couple more questions. Right? All right.
But my story is I was born in St. Croix, and I migrated to St. Thomas, so I would go back and forth. I went to Shalimali High School for 9th grade. I went to Central High School for 10th and 11th, and I came back and I went to Edorican. And I graduated from Edorican. You know, so, so I could say, listen, man, I got it. I got this. But after I graduated from high school, I always wanted to teach. That I know. I was inspired by families and neighbors who were instructors. And so I went to Charles Turnbull, who was then the Commissioner of Education. And I told him, I says, listen, I want to teach, but before I go away to college to study to become a teacher and realize that this is just in my head, I want a job as a paraprofessional. So he said, fine. He was impressed by my presentation, and I was hired. My NOPA took maybe 3 weeks. Everybody said, what? Because then it was paper. Everything was a piece of paper moving from desk to desk. So I went to Lockhart Elementary School to be a paraprofessional. And the PE instructor went out on maternity leave. So they said, Mr. Francis, I want you to sub as the PE instructor. I says, okay, I could do this. So I subbed. They held me in that position for 2 years. And after I got through with that, I says, you know something? I can't go back to being a paraprofessional because the substitute gave me, I think, $2 more than I was making then on my $10,000 salary.
Big money, big money.
To say that back then it was decent money, no overhead. You had it made. And I went to New York City where I have family. I went to College of New Rochelle. And College of New Rochelle had just turned from an all-girls Catholic college to co-ed. And so they really and truly helped shape me. I thought that I was going to be an elementary teacher. But when I got there, someone looked at me and said, you have the skills to work in special education. I'm patient. I can break things down into minute parts and teach it in chunks. And students who they say couldn't learn were surpassing what their expectations are. So I did my degree in psychology and special ed. So I got a BA. I taught for 5 years in New York City, Harlem Hospital, Channel Lesson Psychiatry. And I taught under some decent people. I also had the health and hospital folks watching at me. And I would tell them, back then Ritalin was big. And students were coming to school in the hospital because they were severely emotionally disturbed. So they say. And when they come in and we did case studies, it would be, that sounds like a good case for Ritalin to me. Now here's this little black
Just
boy.
so everyone is aware of, that's a medication.
Medication that numbs you. So you can take Ritalin and sit down in a class, you'll be well behaved, but you can teach your soul out, not a thing going into the brain. So here's this little black boy from Savannah telling these clinicians, nah, that don't sound like a good candidate for Ritalin to me. That sounds like a good candidate for a robust behavior modification program. And they looked at me and they said, well, guess what? I am the teacher. If I am going to be teaching those students and we're teaching our souls out and nothing is happening, let's see you do it when they are not on Ritalin and they're bouncing off the walls. Basically, all we did was a behavior modification plan that reinforced positive behavior. We did not look at the negative behavior and say punishment. We looked, if they did 5 minutes of sitting still, excellent job. Here is a star to put on your desk that you can see that you did 5 minutes. And then we increased it to 10. And eventually, I was able to go to Health and Hospital and say, the students are complaining that they're coming to school in the hospital and their friends are teasing them. We want to move out into a school building. They said, Mr. Francis, you find a school building and we will applaud you. As long as there's space for our clinicians to move into that building with you, we will applaud you. Well, the way it works in this New York City public school is that was one school in a cluster of schools. So I just reached out to my principal. I said, listen, so and so and so is the case. This is what we need. He said, fine. The bottom floor of our building has been vacant for the longest. See if they will accept it. It was ADA acceptable. And so within, again, one school year, the students were moving out. When the feds came to do our evaluation, the first thing they said, they have never seen such a sophisticated program in special education. Good. So that being said, forward fast, I came back home because my grandmother, who I grew up with, was ailing, and no one was there to mind her after she had minded so many people. So I came back home. I told my ex-wife now that guess what? If it wasn't for my grandmother, I wouldn't be where I am. I wanted a lot of things that my peers wanted and did that's not desirable. And she said, absolutely not. So I came back home and I went back to teach. And Hurricane Marilyn came and threw everything asunder. And then from there, I became the principal, assistant principal of Sproul School, then the principal. Then they moved me to Raphael Whitley Skills. No, they moved me to Edith Williams Alternative Academy, where, again, they were saying, oh, you're in the school for bad boys. I said, nothing is bad about those boys. They may smell bad from time to time, but they're not bad.
On that note, we're going to transition you. I really thank you so much for...
And then I went to Skill Center, and I've been there for the past 5 years, doing awesome things with my staff.
Awesome, awesome. Wonderful story. I think one of the big things that I got out of there that's really applicable, not just in a school setting, but even if you're managing persons, is by affirming positive behavior. In one of my businesses, we used to always say, it's okay to be happy. And then you would get, rewarded, or let me catch you doing something great. And you would get rewarded for that. And it's really important. I just want to pull that out because we have a lot of people that are viewing and that are here from various backgrounds. And so it's important for us to pick out the positive behavior. Whatever you emphasize in your life is what is always bigger and will get bigger. And so if you do that for somebody else, you'll be amazed at how that changes and how it will change your pocket. Because this session is about economics and education. And so when you're educated enough and when you educate someone else so that they can open their eyes and see something, it will help them and it will help them to rise up and level up. Do we have one more?
Yes, you do.
Yes, ma'am.
And part of that educational journey for many of us was participating in student organizations in high school. Would you not say? So I was a avid member of the Future Business Leaders of America.
FBLA, all right.
And after high school, when I came to UVI, UVI had the PBL chapter, which is the college level FBLA. And I said that to say a lot of my aspirations came from being involved in FBLA. So now that we have FBLA on the high school level and at UVI, we also have it on the junior high level, and it's called FBLA middle level. And that's why I met some of the dynamic young people in this room, besides them being in my class. And I would know that they would have told you that I shared with them, education was never on my radar. I wanted to be a pediatrician. Until I had an accident in St. John on the Reef Bay Trail, and I broke my ankle and I had to be in the hospital. And then I said, this is not for me. The sight of blood, no. Fast forward to high school. Like I said, I was a member of FBL, and God rest Mrs. Cecilia Smith in her grave. She was just awesome in helping to mold us along with our classes in the then vocational education departments. And so being in business, because I am an entrepreneur as well, I do have a little business that I do on the side besides promoting business education, was one of the best decisions I made. But in education, I found that students need to understand that the basic educational courses, our mathematics, our science, our English, our reading comprehension, they all correlate. I remember giving the students an opportunity to calculate hours worked. They said they don't like math. So I said to them, when y'all finish high school, all y'all come work for me because I could give you anything I desire because you didn't want to do the math. And that's when I saw the light bulb go off in many of their heads. You need to be able to do basic math, but you have to know how to read. You have to know how to write. You have to know how to comprehend. And so then when they go out in the workforce, because we know that college isn't for everyone, and so we have the options to do vocational school, we have the option to do military, but we also have the option to do work, and you enter the workforce. And so our objective at the Department of Education is to produce high school seniors that are equipped to enter the workforce after leaving high school. And so with all that I do and all the accomplishments that I have, it is my greatest accomplishment to see the students leave, not just with their high school diplomas, but also with that additional certification, that they may enter the workforce ready. It was my greatest joy to have a student that graduated last year, her mom, around myself, and Miss Marisol down, because we gave them that certification in a special program that we have. And she wanted to apply to become a beautician because she did the cosmetology course.
Okay.
She couldn't apply for that cosmetology, even to take the test, without having that certificate that said she completed the course in high school. So that's how important it is in the courses that we offer. I want to encourage you parents, encourage your students to become a part of the career and technical education family, because they will leave high school not only with the high school diplomas, but with that certification that we're talking about. And so if they decide that they want to go to the Skills Center, then Mr. Francis has no choice but to put them in advanced classes because they've come out already certified.
Awesome. That's a great segue. We're almost out of time, and I want to make sure that we leave time for the audience to ask any of their pressing questions. Remember, there's a pop quiz in order for you to be fed today, and I know that belly's rumbling. It wasn't just mine. Somebody else was talking back to it. So, quick question to Mr. Biggs. If you could just share, especially since we have Ms. Kusa in the audience, some of your programs. We've heard a lot about what education has and their programs, but I know that at EDA you guys are also running various programs over there. So if you could pass them the mic and share some of the programs so people can be aware, not just for students, but adults as well.
Yeah, and as Ms. Joseph Smith indicates, we do have Kusa Holloway who works with me. Kusa is in charge of our incubator program. We're trying to expand that over to St. Thomas. We do have an incubator, active incubator over in St. Croix. But we offer young CEO camps. We offer boot camps for adults who are trying to get in business. And we have a program that we do with at-risk male students along with the public defender's office that we termed Entrepreneur. And what we try to do is we try to expose individuals to entrepreneurship. So the college path may not be for you, the military path may not be for you, the vocational path will not be for you, but business may be. And business traditionally now does not mean opening a storefront like it used to years ago. I mean, you could be creating an app, you could be doing stuff online, there's a variety of different things. So at the end of our entrepreneur, what these students have to do is they have to do a business plan, and they do sort of a Shark Tank. If you've seen the movie, the program Shark Tank on television, they come and they do a Shark Tank pitch to a variety of different individuals who grade their presentation. So we try to prepare people. If you're going into business or you want to go into business, these are some of the things you need to do. So again, we expose them to entrepreneurship. Again, we like to foster innovation and entrepreneurship at the EDA. So those are some of the non-traditional programs we have. We do recommend, you even if you're doing academic, my personal thing to you is try to also get on a vocational track and get one trade done somewhere along the way that you like. I can tell you personally, when we've had recessions and businesses tend to close and lay off people, most of the individuals that I know that have trades have done very well, even when some of the businesses have not been able to do as well. So I encourage all of you, in addition to your academic side, to at least do one trade and get certified in a trade. And remember, that certificate is good anywhere in the nation. So you get that, what's it, NCR or NCCR certificate. You can travel wherever and present that and get a job with that certificate. So very important in regards to that.
Love it, love it, love it. I love the fact that it's a global economy, so we can be here home in St. Thomas, St. John, St. Croix, Water Island, wherever, and be working for a company that's all the way in Europe or Asia or someplace else, and still be able to enjoy our home. We don't have to, the limitations aren't there anymore. We don't have to move away anymore to get educated, to get experience, or anything of the nature. So we have opportunities here. I see the eager faces, and you guys are jumping up and down. Who's going to ask the first question? Hi, there we go. Do we have a mic? We should pass to them. Would you help? Thank you so much.
Great presentation, everybody. Mr. Francis, question. You talk about the Raphael Whitley Skills Center. What's the cost of those classes?
Okay.
Great question.
The cost varies because we have 17 programs that we offer, and I can give you some information. My information, you can contact me so I can send you the information because it's a lot to talk about. But we have our health programs. Our practical nurse program is the most robust and the most expensive. That's $550 per semester, and that's 4 semesters. And then we have our allied health program, and that's phlebotomy, clinical medical assistant, and medical admit, billing and coding, $450. All of our trades, you name the trade, we have it: carpentry, plumbing, electrical. Those are $350. Those are 2 semesters, 2 years, 4 semesters. And again, we're encouraging folks to sign up. The good part is there's tuition assistance through one of our
I was just
partners,
about
the
to say.
Department of Labor. There's also tuition assistance through the Board of Education. And then there's also the governor and I, we've been talking about wanting to make the Skill Center tuition free. So the last thing he whispered to me this morning is, let me know what your budget would look like so I can allocate the funding so that students can come to the Raphael Whitley Skill Center for free.
Yes, and I definitely want to add on to that. I was waiting for you. I was like waiting to jump in. The great news is so simple, you guys. If you go to the Department of Labor, the Whitley Skills Center is already an eligible provider. If you sign up there, you can get these courses for free. You just have to go and sign up. That's all you have to do. And you get allocated a budget for training, and it varies depending on which program you're in. But once you go into the one-stop operator, they're actually here today too. So anyone in the room, if you want to learn about them, they're outside Equus or the on the, what is it, OJ? Now, the one-stop operator, I think is what it's called. But they're right outside, and they can give you information. You can sign up there, and you can get all of these courses for free. So we have zero excuse, and he's so right. And coming soon, it's going to be even easier for us to upskill, because remember, this is not just for students. This is also for adults who want to get an additional trade. I'm one. I got like 5 hats that I wear, and I wear them proudly. I have no side businesses. They're all full-time. And we need to have these extra opportunities because Mr. Biggs hit on it. When one business goes down or you have to pivot, you have others or other occupations or trades that you can, fall back on. And that's very important. Superstar question. Who's that? We have another one?
Good morning to everybody. Thank you for your all being here. This question is for the entire panel. We understand that people learn differently. So
Yes.
the question would be, what opportunities do you all see or are you exploring to expand teaching to strengths and accommodating learning styles to place students on the greatest path to success?
Since I have the mic, I'm going to start
Uh-oh.
on it. I'm passionate.
Now, remember.
I absolutely. Brevity. Because I have a clinical background and learning styles, I breathe that. Some people learn it, some people have to study it. Automatically, I do the interviewing of the students. Automatically, I do the counseling. I see where they are. And then the instructors have professional development to let them know, because a lot of them excellent at their craft, they've been at it for years. This particular student learns best from this modality. And sometimes when they get into the classroom, the students see that. So it's already embedded into our curriculum, just like entrepreneurship. Each one of our programs, we do an entrepreneuring unit so that students who may want to become business owners in that area could be prepared for that.
So one of the modes of strategies that we use in education is the I do, you do, we do. And so we know that students have different learning styles. And so I do it as an instructor, then we do it together as a group, and then you do it on your own. And in that way, we're able to see your level of understanding. And if you need additional support, you are able to get that support in that way. So that's one of the strategies that we use in the classroom, the I do, the you do, the we do.
not traditional learning per se, more on the entrepreneurship side. Again, through our incubator, we can tailor stuff. So if you're an entrepreneur and you need help with labeling, we could help you with labeling. If you need help with marketing, so we can tailor stuff to you through our entrepreneurship. Additionally, we work with the Small Business Development Center, which is an entity that's funded by SBA, the Small Business Administration, and it's and UVI, and they do technical administrative help also. So they're allowed to help you and assist you in regard to that. So if you're a business and you're struggling, let's say with your financials, we can assist you with bookkeeping, put you on that accounting level, show you what type of programs you may use to use. If you're planning to get a product out to market that, let's say, is food and beverage, we can assist you in making sure you have the TTB certifications and you have the correct labeling with nutrition and everything else on that also. So we tailor stuff for our entrepreneurs.
Awesome, Commissioner. I will let you wrap up, and I will also poke you. We have one more question.
Let's get this last question before.
Okay. Yep. Oh,
Awesome.
she wants
awesome.
to eat, y'all. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's a quick question to Ms. Richards. Can you tell us the number of students that graduated with a certification?
Last school year, we had 83. 33 at Idorican, and 55 at Charlotte Valley High School in various areas.
And just so you guys know it, we're not just stopping there. What's coming next? And I know the commissioner didn't get a chance to mention it, so I'm gonna steal her thunder real quick since it was on a
Wait a
segue.
minute.
But we're also working on getting the career and technical school and Wheatley, where they will graduate with a degree. So it's not enough just to stop at the certification. We want our students to graduate with their first degree when they graduate from high school. And we're really close on making that happen. And with technology, it's so great because we can connect the schools. And so you could be in St. Thomas or St. Croix and still be able to participate and get their credits. And I'm going to allow Commissioner Designee. We have. Are you serious about getting your lunch? All right, go ahead.
I have one plug from, I'm representing University of the Virgin Islands.
Yes.
We also have a dual credit program. A student can be in high school and attend university at the same time.
Awesome. Y'all hear that? All right.
All right. So, excellent panel and insights. There was numerous mentions of a global economy and the future. What educational programs in technology, specifically coding, are being offered by the various panelists?
I'm going to answer on my side because we don't necessarily do courses in reference to coding and stuff. But I want to make a plug. We created a 20-year economic vision for the territory, recently called Vision 2040. So I would suggest everybody go to usvi2040.com and look at Vision 2040. There are 8 target industries that we anticipate will be growth industries in the future, and they run from agri-science to VI tourism. I mean, there's a variety of different things in there. So if you're planning your career path, you can look and see areas that are going to be growth industries for the next 20 years. So again, Vision 2040, usvi2040.com. And it's the plan that most entities are looking at now. The legislature, I know education has been working in reference to tying it to Vision 2040. DPNR is now doing a master land and water use plan that's being tied to that. Department of Labor tying a lot of the stuff to that. So if you want to get a foot up on a career path, you're not sure what you want to do, look at those growth industries for the future.
I just received from one of my middle school teachers a proposal, because we're not doing coding per se in the classroom right now, but he has just shared with me an opportunity for us to be able to share coding with our middle school students. So it's something that's on our radar and something that's being looked at with integrity. So stay tuned, it's coming.
Well, here's drum roll. It's already here. So the awesome thing is that we've signed an agreement with Microsoft already, and it's called IO Academy, and the governor has committed to funding that to execute and start it. So we are going to be coding and doing all sorts of deep technology type stuff that I don't know how to do, but all these children will be learning that. They're gonna do the first pilot programs in one high school in St. Thomas, one in St. Croix, and then we're gonna push it all the way down. So literally we're gonna have, you know, your little brother, sister, children will be learning how to code. My 10-year-old has started already. Can y'all believe it? and I can't even do Facebook properly. But so they're gonna start from, elementary school and work all the way through so that this type of technology is not separated. We often just want to have a coding class, but really that it impacts all areas. And so that's where we are. So we literally are starting now. In addition to that, the librarians have gotten additional funding. So they're going to be doing robotics through the librarians and some of the other teachers and so forth. So what I mean is exciting. It's not when is it coming, it's here. And just stay tuned. Sorry. Okay, I promise I'm going to let you go.
That's okay.
She mentioned Microsoft. I mean, so I'm trying to get information out to you. In addition to what Sana's indicated, we're working with VING, and they're going to be Microsoft Cloud certified. So they're going to have a regional facility in St. Croix that's really going to handle the region in reference to Microsoft. And we're talking with Amazon in reference to the AWS system also in regard to that. So there's going to be a lot of technology coming here in the territory. As you know, we have more bandwidth here in the territory than any place in the nation with the exception of New York City. So as a result of the global crossing cables there. So we're trying to take advantage of the bandwidth that's available to us and really expand IT. Additionally, we're looking at remote work and how we can attract more remote work here to the territory as a result of the bandwidth that's available.
I ain't gonna say a word.
You sure about that? Anyway, we want to say thank you for joining us this afternoon, because it's afternoon now.
Yep.
There's several things that students especially, that I want you to take away, because sometimes we get caught up in so many people talking and things may go in one ear and out the next, but we don't want that to be your case. You have opportunities available in your school. Exercise your rights. There are things put in place to help you, to support you. One of the things that Mr. Big said was you could go to college and still have a technical trade under your belt. I didn't have that. I regret that. I talk to my mom about it all the time. Like, you didn't encourage me to do that. You encouraged me to go to college. But having both is powerful. And you have to remember that knowledge is power. And once you acquire knowledge, in a soul could take that from you. And so don't let these opportunities pass you by. We've been a little bit behind the 8 ball in some of our career and technical offerings. We're talking about fine arts, bringing the arts back into the curriculum and offering certification in those. We're talking about the aviation program. We're partnering to bring aviation to the St. Thomas, St. John district. Those students who may be interested in being pilots, those students who may be interested in repairing the aircrafts, those students who are interested in being air traffic controllers. Those people get paid a lot of money. And so these are opportunities that we want to open your perspective to, because there's nothing that our children should not be offered. And so we are working to improve that, but I want you to grab a hold that opportunities are available to you. Don't sleep on it. Take advantage of what's there, because it's designed to make you a more productive citizen in this economy. And so thank you to all the adults as well. I think that I want to go up and look for a scholarship, because I think I still want a lot of trade.
It's never too late.
It's never too late.
Never too late.
So thank you for being here. I hope that you gained something out of this session today. It was definitely.
Otherwise you can't eat, so sit down. If you don't have a nugget, sit down.
It's true. I want to thank my colleagues. Thank you, Mr. Biggs. I'm looking forward to working with you as we move the needle forward and really provide more opportunities for our children. You are our future. I want, like Sana said.
And the adults.
Yes, and the adults. I want to be able to retire and feel comfortable knowing that people are going to take care of me. And so whatever we need to do now, let's do it. Let's get people educated. Let's get people trained. And let's improve our whole workforce here in the Virgin Islands. So have a blessed rest of your day, and thank you again.
Thank you so much, everyone.